Count Cola, serious questions remain and need answers, Minister, and I thank you for coming in tonight to try and answer them. When did Parliametrica find out about this error? How did they find out about it, the error, and what safeguards had they in place to ensure that their system was watertight? Why did these safeguards not kick into place? And also, how much were they paid for the development of this system? And what accountability have they as a result of the system not being watertight?
Thank you, Deputy. The error, as was identified by Parliametrica on Tuesday evening of last week, it was identified as Parliametrica were working through the LCA Leaving Certificate LCA results, which is a 2-year programme, and these results are generally uploaded after the Leaving Certificate, become available after the Leaving Certificate results, and so the 5th year results from that subject area were being worked on, and at that point, as I said, at that time, Parliametrica identified what they classed at that early stage as an anomaly. In other words, it became apparent to them that there was something not correct, something not right. As regards what that was or what it meant, there was no clarity around it at that early stage. The Calculated Grades Office was informed, and the system ran through the night, and then the following day, work ensued, as I've already outlined. In terms of, I believe you asked about the contract and the payment. The original contract, to the best of my knowledge, I think was for around the 170 mark. And but could I check that, Deputy, and come back to you, because I just, for absolute clarity, I just want to check that. And your third question, Deputy, was if you would just remind me. Was it about the system and development of the system? Had they checked it out and had the accountability? There was, of course, the contract there, and obviously, as in any contract, there are penalties there, and all of that will be pursued, obviously, to the absolute. But again, in terms of what you've asked, in terms of the oversight, I've already outlined that there was oversight there in terms of the full model. Good, Minister. What checks did your department carry out prior to issuing the Leaving Certificate results to ensure that they were watertight? Again, Deputy, as I say, there was oversight on the process from the very beginning, and that included oversight from the National Standardisation Group. It included the Independent Steering Committee, which was very important, and it was a committee that was chaired by Dr. Anya Lawler, formerly of the Teaching Council. Equally so, there was, in the interests of external review, there was an international external review which was conducted by Dr. Janet Brown of the Scottish Qualifications Authority, and again the further external review here in terms of the Education Research Centre. So there was validation, there was checks, there was balances there was a number of layers put in place. And again, as I have said previously, Deputy, all the information and the data concerning each of these groups has been made available and is available online, and the reports that they have made and the opinions that they have offered are also available. Thank you. Good. Yesterday, Minister, I received replies to a parliamentary question in relation to how the Cert results were taken into account in the standardisation process. I received a very detailed response, but the Minister and the Department, despite being aware of this error, failed to mention it in the answer, despite the matter being directly related. Can we not trust the responses we receive from the Department of Education, and why was this not mentioned? Deputy, could I say to you, I don't have sight of the specific question you're referring to. I accept it. Yeah. I'm just making. Yeah. And I would have to say to you that the situation as it first arose, we'll say on Tuesday of last week, as I said, identified an anomaly in the first instance, and it's only in the working through of it that it has become apparent to us, what exactly the error was, how many students would be impacted, and indeed the further and complete and absolute substantial data we are still working on. Until the fullest of data is available, we can only make the fullest of data available. But as I have said, I'm hoping to do that as quickly as we possibly can.
Cormac, I have concerns, the Count Caller, about parliamentary replies in general. Are they accurate and are they, as accountable as they're meant to be? Yesterday, a message was sent, Minister, to students informing them that they had been affected, my own daughter included. But shockingly, the department even got that wrong, text message wrong. They sent an incorrect link to the students, and the students then had to receive a second message. Why could the department not get this right? And we are dealing with, the lives of young students, and it is, has been under one blunder after another. And why could they just not get that right? I mean, it's a very sensitive time. You said for your outline remarks at the start I was here, and you apologised, I know. And it is for every student, not because it's my daughter or anyone, but it's a trying time. You think that sending out a message with a wrong link was very sloppy and clumsy, and not the serious care of the students that they were addressing.
Deputy, again, I thank you for raising that point. And initially, I also want to acknowledge you are 100% correct. This is an incredibly sensitive and anxious time for the students. And at no stage do I want to diminish the anxiety that students are experiencing currently. And I would go beyond that, because I know it's not just the student. The entire family is drawn into it, and I absolutely appreciate that there, all households become involved when a student is taking a Leaving Certificate exam, or indeed any exam at all. So I do want to acknowledge the anxiety that is there, and as you have acknowledged, I have previously, and I will continue to do so, apologise for that stress and I suppose anxiety that has been placed on students. In relation to the text, the text was transmitted yesterday to students so that they would be made aware exactly of what was happening, so that they would be informed. And again, I will say to you that they are the central and principal concern in all of this. And I want to abide by that through the entire process. In relation to the specific instance you raised there, in relation to a wrong link, I'm not aware of that, Deputy. I am aware of the text going to all of the students, 61,000 students approximately. And that issue hasn't been raised with me as regards an incorrect link. If that has been the case, I'm very sorry to hear that, and I will absolutely investigate that with my officials, and I will revert to you again in relation to it, Deputy, and thank you for raising it.
Thank you, Minister. Will students, Minister, affected receive their rightful course or choice and be able to take up their place this year? If not, those students are disadvantaged. B, if students must move to a new city to take up a place in an alternative university, who's going to compensate them for the accommodation that they have already paid for? Because everyone had to pay up last Friday and register and pay for the accommodation, and in Friday even they were told they'd be working online. So could you clarify that for me, please?
Again, Deputy, just to clarify that if students receive an upgrade, the completed file will be sent to the CEO, and the CEO will make offers, higher preference offers to those who are deserving of them at that point. And we will move to do that as quickly as possible, because I do appreciate that it is important for students to receive that as quickly as possible. I mentioned previously that in terms of students who would receive an upgrade as a special arrangement this year for students who would receive an upgrade either as a consequence of the calculated grade or as a result of taking the exam in November, that student will not have to pay any fees, either registration or otherwise, and will obviously be eligible for SUSI again. Just to say, in relation to the number of places, I wish to confirm again that Minister Harris has acknowledged himself, and I want to acknowledge the cooperation of the Department of Higher Education in terms of their preparedness to work with the Department of Education and obviously CEO and the higher education authorities, that we will do all that is possibly within our gift to do to ensure that the maximum number of students will receive their offer and their placement this year. That will be an absolute objective. And again, just to point out, and I think it's important to repeat it again, last year there were 17,000 appeals, 3,000 of them successful, 600 were upgraded, 600 students, and eligible to receive higher preference offers, and all of that 600, bar 3, received their offer within the academic year last year, and it is my absolute objective, if at all possible, in cooperation with Minister Harris, to ensure that that similar success will be achieved this year.
Thank you, Minister.